Hi, everyone. Welcome to our fifth Zoom technology class. I hope everyone is doing well and you are enjoying your summer so far. I just want to remind you of a few things before we get started today. First of all, if you would like to contribute something, if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand virtually. You could do this on your computer by clicking on participants and then raise hand, or on your phone or tablet by clicking on more and then raise hand. Please do this at any time throughout the class if you have anything that you would like to add. And lastly, if you have not joined our WhatsApp chat, please make sure you reach out to me today and I will make sure that that is done for you. But please make sure you are in that chat as soon as possible because it's important that you receive updates from me throughout the week. Okay, so here's what's going to be happening today. Today's lesson, Joe, next slide, is revolving around health. That's our overall topic today: technology and health, and the ways we could use our phone, tablet, computer, our technological devices to enhance our life and make us healthier. So last week we learned, if you were here last week, how to use and manage an email account and how to access the weather in the weather app. Today we're going to be looking at three topics, all revolving around our health category. The first is an app called Synch, which is if you were here last semester, you were introduced to that app. We will be going through that again today. Next will be the Apple Health app, and then lastly, tips on creating a healthy workspace. So as you can see, they're all kind of health related. So we're going to start now with the Synch app. A few of you might be familiar with this if you were here last semester. Synch is an app. It was designed by Jerry Kestenbaum, who is the CEO of Building Link, which is the program you might see when you walk into a building and you see all those colored packages. He created this app as kind of a side gig, and it's designed to help seniors organize their medications, their appointments, everything into one consolidated kind of colorful app. This tool allows you to reach out to your friends and family in an easy way, including your doctors and your pediatrician and your pharmacy and insurance and kind of all those contacts that are important. What else can this do? It's all virtual, so there's no more handwritten notes that are forgotten appointments or rewritten prescription lists. Everything goes into the app, just so it's more organized for you. You could keep a list of all your symptoms and medications and your conditions, and also it keeps track of your history. So if you're recording your weight, for example, you could see your previous weight and how you're developing. You could look at all that. So this is a really cool app, and we're very excited to show this to you today. So Joe is now going to share his screen, and we are going to take a look at this together. The Synch app is a third-party app, meaning it doesn't come with your phone. It's something you have to download separately. You can get this just as we would on any other app, using the App Store, which is that blue icon, which Joe's about to show you on his screen. It looks like a little white A. Joe, there it is. So it's as you can see, it looks like a little blue with a white A. This you'll have on any Apple device. If you're on a Samsung or another device, then you will have what's called the Google Play Store. There are other terms for this, but on Apple phones, it is called the App Store, and this is where you will go to find the app. Once you click on it, you could just type in the name of the app that you're looking for. So Joe, just click on it. And Joe can now type in, we're looking for an app called Synch. So we're going to type in Synch. Joe, yeah, okay, that's fine. So you can see that the first one that came up, or the second one, it says Synch. And because Joe already has this app downloaded, it says open. If you did not have this downloaded yet, it will say the term get. And you will click on it and it will be downloaded to your phone. Once you download it, it will now be placed at the end of your home screen, which, Joe, can you go back to the home screen? It will be kind of towards the end. Let's find it. There it is, at the bottom right. On your phone, it might be placed in a different place, but for all of you, it will be somewhere on your screen. You're looking for that kind of capital H with the S in it. There's a blue and kind of turquoise color. So Joe is now going to open the app. This is Joe's first time opening the app, so we're going to really start from the beginning. So the first thing you have to do is hook up your account to an email. So you could type in any email address, one that you use, whether it's your Gmail or your business account, that way all your information will be hooked up to your email account. So you want to type in your email. That's the first question it will ask you, and then you'll hit continue. And then it will ask you for some more kind of basic information, such as your first name, your last name, and then to come up with the password. It is important to use a safe password, a secure password, and maybe similar to one that you already have. Just you could just write, you could put one in there, and make sure that you write this down or remember this password so that later on, if it asks you to sign in, you will be able to access the information. Joe, so you can tell me the password. Just 1 second. Joe, is it working? There we go. Okay, so after you type in your information, it will basically send an email to your email account asking you to confirm that this is a real email, this is your email, and you can go to your email and you'll see out of the most recent emails, you will see an email that says, let's wait till this loads. It will say HealthSync, kind of confirm your email address. And from there, you'll be able to confirm that the email address belongs to you. So you can see it just one button. It says confirm email. You'll click on that. It will say thank you for registering, and then you can go back into the app. Once you are there, you will log in and you'll see this. It will say welcome to HealthSync app. So let me just walk this through again. Once you open the app, it will ask for your email. It will ask for your first and last name, kind of other basic information. Then you will receive an email from HealthSync asking you to confirm the email address. You will click on confirm email and go back into the app where you will see this slide that says welcome to HealthSync app. So that is kind of the setup process. Now you've gotten into the app and you've successfully signed in and are all set. So HealthSync, it looks like it starts with a brief tour. We'll tell you a little bit about the app. We are going to do most of that explaining today, but Joe, you can click on start a brief tour and just swipe. From this, you can kind of get a little sense of what the app does. Joe, you can keep swiping. You can see that it has a bunch of pages that we're going to look at. We are going to show this to all of you when we actually get into the app. This is more of kind of a setup tutorial that the app comes with. That lets you know, that tells you a little bit about it. Once you get to the end of it, you'll see that button that says get started, and you will be taken into the app. So Joe's now going to click on that green get started button, and you're going to see a slide that looks like this. So HealthSync actually gives you the ability to keep track of yourself or someone else. Typically this app is for seniors. If one of your children or grandchildren want to keep track of this for you, they could set it up and click on someone else and fill in your information, or you could do it for yourself. So for our purposes today, we're going to click on myself and fill in our information. So Joe's not going to do that. You can click on complete, Joe, at the bottom. Oh, at the bottom, no thanks. So this is what the main HealthSync page looks like. As you can see, it's nice colors. It has a few options, and there's four buttons all the way at the bottom. On the left, we have current data, followed by report, contacts, and your profile. Julia is now going to explain what you could do on this first page, including measurements, medications, current diagnosed conditions, and appointments.
Okay, so when you click on current data on the bottom left, which is what Joe's on right now, you could see this list: measurements, medications, symptoms, current diagnosed conditions, and appointments. And next to each one of these is a plus button, meaning that you can add to any of these. So if Joe clicks on measurements, he can record in this app his blood pressure, his blood sugar, or his weight. So if Joe goes to weight, just for example, you could see that if Joe types in a sample weight and saves that weight, it will appear at the bottom under Joe's recent weight. That's his most recent weight recorded. And it shows when it was recorded, the date, the time, and who it was recorded by Joe Kaplan. And if Joe presses the arrow on the top left corner, when he goes into measurements, you could see right underneath is the weight that he recorded most recently. Under that is medication. So if you want to add a medication, you would press that plus button. You would type in the medicine name. So Joe could type in Advil and click on whichever Advil, and he can write the dosage, the frequency, how often he's taking the medication. And he can also write a note at the bottom. So maybe something that he wants to remember every time he takes that medication. Maybe you need to eat before you take the medication. And then once Joe finishes, he'll press OK. And you could see that when on that under medications, you have the Advil, and under measurements, you have his weight. So we're going to skip over symptoms. And then the next one, we're going to do current diagnosed conditions. If you press plus, you can add a current diagnosed condition that you have. So under condition name, if you click there, you could type in migraines. And it shows the date. And then underneath it is the treating health professional. So that means the doctor that diagnosed you with this condition. And because Joe right now doesn't have anybody in his contacts, it's going to be difficult for him to write a treating health professional. He can't do it yet. But once we show you, I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to add contacts into this app. You can add a list of all of your doctors, and then you can click on one of the doctors in the list to show which doctor diagnosed you with this current condition. So we'll skip that for now. And then you can also here add a note at the bottom to this condition. And once you're finished, you would press add at the bottom. And you could see that this condition appears underneath current diagnosed conditions. Then the final one I'm going to show you is appointments. So if you click on the plus, you can add a date, a time, a place of your next doctor's appointment, or any type of appointment that you have coming up. And you would also add the treating health professional, the doctor that you're going to meet. So once you have your doctors in your contacts through HealthSync, then you're going to easily be able to add that into your appointments and into your current diagnosed conditions. And once you finish that, you're going to press add at the bottom. And Joe's going to he's going to see a reminder for this appointment that he has. Oh, so Joe needs to add a place. So if he adds New York, Manhattan, perfect. And if he presses add, then you could see that today he has an appointment at 12:44, and it shows him that reminder. So that is what I wanted to show you for current data.
Great. All right, so that is a brief overview of the things that you could do on current data. The reason why we didn't show you symptoms is because typically that's a little bit of a pain to put in every time you have some sort of symptom. That is something you could also do. It works the same way, but it's not something that's popular among this app. It's more to keep track of your measurements, medications, conditions, and appointments. And once again, after we show you how to add a doctor, it will be easier to input that information for your symptoms and appointments. So we're now going to go to the next button, which is report. And this slide makes it very easy for you to share information with your doctor if they ask for a report of your past measurements or your appointments, or your medications. And as you can see, the first thing you could do is change the date range. So if your doctor wants to see your measurements from the past week, you could change the date range. It will automatically be set. The starting date will automatically be set from when you got the app. So as you can see, it says today, 7/19 to 7/19. That's when Joe got the app. You could change that. In 4 weeks from now, you can make it the past week. So you could play around with the date depending on what is important and what your doctor wants you to share. And then, as you can see at the top, there are these blue buttons, measurements, medication, symptoms, diagnosed conditions, appointments, and doctors. These are the same options that were on the current data slide. And depending on what your doctor wants to see, you could select different ones. So if Joe clicks on all of them, you can see how they're all becoming gray, meaning they're not selected anymore, and you see how there's nothing below. Joe, just click on doctors. So you see how there's nothing here now. If my doctor only wants medications, then Joe's gonna click on medications. And you can see that in the health report, the only thing that is being shown right now is the medications that Joe has added. Now, to share this report, to share this to your doctor, you're gonna click on that button at the bottom. So go back for a second. And it says share this report. Everyone see that, a green button at the bottom. You'll click on share this report. Once you click on that, you'll be able to type in the email address of the person you want to send it to. Once again, if you have your doctor in your contacts, you will be able to get it from there, and you won't have to type in the full email address. You could also add a message if you want to say, hi doctor, here's my most recent whatever it is. You could add a note at the bottom, and then you click on that green send button to send across the message. So you don't have to do it now. Okay, so that is, so the reports page and overview is basically to share your information that you're recording on the app with someone who needs it, whether it's your doctor or your children or someone who wants to see where you're at. On the slide that Julia showed you, the measurements app, aside from also showing your weight, you could also record blood pressure and blood sugar. You could record a bunch of this stuff. You kind of just have to play around with it, input your information, and reports is used to share that. So now we're going to go to the third slide, which is contacts. And this is how you input the people that you care about, the people that have to know, that you have to know their phone numbers into the app, so that you could also use this information when you're creating appointments and your health conditions. So Julia, go ahead.
Okay, so as you can see, HealthSync organizes your contacts according to the relationship to the patient. So either you can have family contacts, medical contacts, meaning doctors, you can put in your insurance contacts, and you can put in your pharmacy contacts. So we can add one for each. So if Joe clicks on family contacts, he can add the contact by writing the name, by adding the name of the contact, the number, the email, and the relationship. And once he does that, he would press save, and that will add that contact to the HealthSync app. And then if Joe goes back, a similar thing for medical contacts. If Joe wants to add his doctor's contact, he would write the doctor's name, the profession, company name, the medical specialty, number, phone number, office number, the address of the doctor's office, and the email address, and then he will save that, and that information will be stored on this app. So when you input appointments or when you input diagnosed conditions, you're going to have that doctor in your contacts. Okay, and then the next one, insurance, you can add your insurance plan, the name, the number, and then the final one, pharmacy. If you click on that ad, you can add the name of the pharmacy, the address, the email, and so if you need a doctor to call in a prescription for you, you can quickly send them this information through the app.
Great. Also, as you can see, for all of these, there's a lot of information, the address and all that, and you don't have to put in all of that. If you only want, let's say, the phone number, which might be the most important to you, that's all you have to put in. You don't have to put in all those different, like the company name, the PhD, all of that information. Once you have those contacts stored in, you will be able to add that as your treating health professional. Once you're adding your appointments and your conditions, it will automatically appear, but you first have to add these to your contacts. So it's important to add these categories: your family, medical, insurance, and pharmacy. So the last tab all the way at the bottom right is called Your Profile, and this basically is kind of the main page where you find all your information. As you can see, the only thing we have right now is said Joe Kaplan's data set. You can actually keep track of more than one person on this app. So if you have, yourself, your spouse, your brother, all that, you can keep track of more than one person. At this point, we only have one. And you could add more by clicking on the add a new data set, and then choosing if it is for yourself, which is what we did at the beginning, or for someone else. If Joe clicks on where it says Joe Kaplan's data set, he could actually invite people by clicking on invite a new member to also see his information. So if he wants to add, his grandpa, whatever it is, you could add people so they could also see your information, and they will be considered like looking at someone else's information as opposed to recording information about themselves. So you could do that by clicking on the invite a new member button and typing in their information. You can see it just looks the same as always: first name, last name, email, and permission. All right, so now Joe's gonna go back. If you did have more than one data set, Joe, if you go to current data, you'll see at the top it says Joe Kaplan, kind of like a little tab. If you did have more than one, you'll be able to switch between them by clicking on their name at the top. You'll see kind of Joe, go back. Next to Joe Kaplan, you'll see another tab that says, for example, Jordan Mittler, and you can click on my name and see my information. So you could switch very easily between the two and access all the information that you need. Okay. So that was a brief tutorial of how to input and access information on your Health Sync app. Joe's now going to go back to the presentation. If there are any questions, please feel free to virtually raise your hand, and I'll be able to see that. If not, we are going to move on. I also do want to point out that for those of you who this is your first time on the Zoom, I typically take a few questions here, and the majority of the questions will be answered on our Tuesday Q&A session, where I answer all questions on anything that was covered during today's class, or anything technology related. Renee, you could ask your question. Go ahead.
Yes. Is this information private? Is it possible for somebody to hack this information?
So Renee asked, it was a little quiet, but Renee asked if this is private information and if you can put in your information and make sure that it's secure. So anyone that you invite to view your information is definitely going to be able to see it. Taking a risk as this is the same as typing in your credit card information into Amazon. It's the same that these are pretty much very secure, but there's always that small possibility that someone could access your information. Really, anytime you call someone, you're sharing your information. So I would say it's very, very minimal, and I wouldn't be worried about it, especially on an app like this. So I would say that this app is pretty secure and private. Okay, Joe is now going to go to the next slide. The next thing that we're going to look at today is called the Health app. This is an app that is made by Apple. It's on all Apple phones. I'm sure that Androids have other apps that you can download regarding health. This one is specifically for Apple phones, and it came with the phone, so it's not something you have to go to the App Store to download. And the way this differs from the Health Sync app is that this app is more day-to-day information. It shows you how many steps you take every day, your heart rate, if your heart goes above it, as normal, a lot of information, how much caffeine you're drinking every day, a lot of information. It's more day-to-day, as opposed to Health Sync is scheduling appointments, recording conditions, more long-term events. So the Health app consolidates data from your iPhone. If you do have an Apple Watch or some sort of thing on your wrist that keeps track of your information, you could also hook that up. And third-party apps, other apps not made by Apple, like if you have a sleeping app that keeps track of your sleeping, or if you go swimming a lot and you have a swimming app that keeps track of your swimming, you can pair those with this app as well. Joe is now going to share his screen, and we're going to take a look at this app and what this can do for us. All right. Okay, so this app, if you've never opened it before, it looks like a little heart. I'm going to circle it. In this case, it's at the top. It might be in a different place, but it's a white screen with a heart that says health right under it. To open it, you just have to click on it. If you have not seen this before, you actually do have it downloaded on your phone. You just haven't looked But this is not something that you have to get via the App Store. It comes with your phone, and you actually can't delete the app. It kind of stays on the phone. So Joe just opened the Health app. You can see that there's two tabs, Summary and Browse. And we are now going to start with, Julia, you could start with your profile.
Okay, so on the top right corner of the app, you could see the little profile button. It's a circle. And if you click on that blue button, you're able to import information about yourself. So the first thing I'm going to show you is health profile. If Joe clicks on that, his first name and last name are already in the app, his date of birth, his gender, his blood type, and he can import all information into this app so that the app is more personalized to him. So Joe can click on any of those things and add them in. And once he finishes those, he's going to press that arrow, the back arrow. And the next thing is the medical ID. So you're able to set up in case of emergency information. So if you're in an emergency, you can have your allergies, your blood type, if you're an organ donor, your weight, your height, and all of these things will be recorded in the app in case you're in an emergency for first responders to see. So once Joe adds that, he'll press done and he can go back. And then the last thing I'm going to show you under accounts is health records. If Joe clicks on that, under privacy is apps. If Joe clicks on that, you could see that any other health related app that Joe has on his phone is connected to Apple's health app. So this app is able to take data from these other apps and use it on this app. So Joe has the Nike Run Club app on his phone. And so Apple's health app is able to take information from that app and use it to personalize Joe's health app on his phone.
Okay. So we're not going to go back into, this opening page, you'll see summary at the top when you first open the app. Julia just showed you all that information was in your profile, which is that little picture of you at the top right. And in summary, you see a few things. The first one is called favorites. You see get more from health. You see a bunch of different options. And basically, starting from the top, let's go back up. The favorite section is basically things that are relevant to you that you can keep there. So if you always want to keep track of your steps, that's something that you might want to put in your favorite section. If you're very concerned about how much caffeine you're drinking every day, that's something you might want to add there. So the health app keeps track of so many different things, but only a few of them, I assume, are important and relevant to you. So if Joe clicks on edit next to favorites, he could select which of the categories he wants to include. So you can see that there's two tabs, existing data and all. Existing data is data that's been recorded already, and all is everything that this app has to offer. So including, you can see steps, walking distance, workouts, your height and weight, headphone audio levels, making sure it's not too loud for you. There's a bunch of different things that can be recorded on this app, and you could add those by going to the edit button next to favorites. Now, just because it's not in your favorites doesn't mean it's not being recorded. It's just that these are the ones that are most important to you and will always appear at the top of the screen. All right, Jess, let's go back. Now, if Joe clicks on the button that says show all health data, which is next, under that, Joe can then see all of the data that's been recorded over the past, I think it's about a year. And it will show you, the date and time next to each thing, and what's being recorded, whether it's steps, flights climbed, workouts, headphone audio levels, all of that. All right, Joe's gonna go back now. Now next it says get more from health. This is where you could access kind of outside information. It's saying, register as an owner, as an organ donor, access your records, articles, and information that's health related. And then lastly is that app section, which give you recommendations of apps that you could download on your phone that that can be partnered with the health app. So the Adidas running app, diabetes tracker log, iHealth, My Vitals, iFurther tracker. These are a bunch of different apps that you could all get on the App Store. It just gives you a little section on the summary page of the health app to see which ones might be helpful to you and relevant. The only other thing is that tab on the right, which is Browse, which is the next button. And this is where you could access all your information, even if it's not in the favorites. So if you want to access information that's not in your favorite section, you can access it here by clicking on Browse. So if Joe clicks on, let's say, heart, there's a bunch of information that could be recorded with your heart. So let's click on blood pressure, for example. So blood pressure, there's an outside app or something that has to be downloaded in order to use this information. For example, your blood pressure can't be tracked just by putting your phone in your pocket. It needs some more information than that. So it's showing you apps you can get to keep track of it, which you can. Or another option is by clicking on Add Data at the top right and manually inputting the information. So you could type in, the date and time that you're recording this, and your blood pressure. So people that don't have, let's say, an Apple Watch, which automatically keeps track of your blood pressure, or that keeps track of your health data and your heart rate, you can do it manually by clicking on the Add Data button. Only some of these options are actually recorded automatically just by having the phone, like steps, that's recorded automatically. There are a few others that are done automatically, but most of them, which can't be recorded just by having your phone in your pocket, need an extra app or an Apple Watch or some other device to keep track of this information. If you don't have any of that, don't worry. You could just click on Add Data and input, every once in a while, your blood pressure or whatever it is, and keep track of that information. All right, Joe, let's go back to the home screen. Great. Okay, so the important part of this app is that it does record a lot of information, and there is a lot of information that you can't keep track of because of the limitations of the phone. So it's important to keep ones that you think are relevant and important to you in the favorite section. If any of these do require outside apps and you care about them, you should go to the App Store and download them. And it also gives, as I showed you, recommendations of apps to get on the health app itself all the way at the bottom, which just kind of gives you suggestions of apps that they think might be relevant. You see the Adidas, the My Sugar, iHealth. These are apps that you can download directly from here. But there are some aspects that you won't be able to naturally get just by putting the phone in your pocket. But you can, like I showed you, manually add information by adding that information by clicking on Add Data and typing in the information yourself manually. Okay, are there any questions so far? Please feel free to raise your hand virtually. Joe's now going to go back into the presentation. Share with audio, Joe.
It's easy to view the information that matters most to you in the Health app in iOS 13. We'll go over your profile page, summary page, and how to explore your data. When you open the Health app, you can tap your profile image to open your profile page. Here you'll find your health profile and medical ID, as well as privacy controls for apps and devices that you have allowed to access your health data. Any information you enter in the Health app is encrypted when your phone is locked with a passcode, Touch ID, or Face ID. You decide which information is placed in Health and which apps can access your data through the Health app. Your summary page offers a personalized overview of your health information. Here you'll see your favorite health data and automatically generated highlights of your data over time. You may also see important notifications at the top. You can tap Edit to choose what appears in favorites. This can include headphone audio levels, blood pressure, mindful minutes, whatever health data matters most to you. Highlights are automatically generated from the apps and devices you use most and show your trends over time. For example, you may see stats from your most recent workout, the average number of minutes you've exercised each day over the last week, and an analysis of your heart rate recovery. You can also explore your data even further. Tap a section on your summary page to learn more, or tap Browse at the bottom right of the screen to explore all your available health data. You can choose a topic from the list, like cycle tracking, and tap to see more information. Or you can enter something specific in the search field, like caffeine. You'll see data about how much caffeine you've consumed. And if you tap the data section, you can explore your activity information by day, week, month, or year. Or you can view automatically generated data about how much caffeine you drink. And that's how you can find the health information that's most important to you. Now you're ready to explore the health app for yourself. For more useful health tips, subscribe to the Apple Support channel or click another video to keep watching.
All right. So that covered most of the topics that we spoke about regarding the health app. That basically just overviewed how you input information, how you record your data, and how you access third-party apps, how you download outside apps, and pair them with your health app. These are actually done automatically. If you download like the Nike running app, it will automatically be paired with your health information, your health app, and it will be fixed together. So on this app, you'll be able to now track your running or the miles you've ran, anything that's affiliated with that app. So most of the functions on this app do require that separate app download so that you can get all the information that you want. There are a few things that will be done automatically, like how many steps you take every day. Okay, now the next and final thing we're going to look at today is kind of very brief and very general, and it's how to create a healthy workspace when you're working, when you're sitting at a desk and you're on a computer all day. So when you're sitting at a computer, this involves a lot of repetitive motions. You know, you're clicking on the mouse, you're typing on the keyboard, you keep looking up at your screen. And it's not always the most comfortable to be sitting there for a long time. So there are a few things that we're going to talk about today, 6 kind of tips that will outline the best way to be using your computer in the most comfortable way. So Julia is now going to start with tip number 1.
Okay, so the first tip, adjust your chair. So you want to make sure that your chair is in a comfortable position that allows you to view and use your computer comfortably in a way that will not hurt your back or your wrists or your arms. And you want to make sure that the design of your chair supports you so that you're comfortable all day.
All right, next is to, Joe, next slide. Keep the keyboard at a comfortable height. You definitely don't want to be leaning down or leaning back with your keyboard or putting it in your lap. You want to have it in a position that allows you to keep your wrist straight and relaxed to avoid wrist strain. Many desks have keyboard trays that can keep the keyboard at a better height. They also have kind of cushions that I know that you can put like at the bottom of a keyboard to kind of rest your wrists on. All right, number 3.
So the third one is to keep your mouse close to your keyboard. So if the mouse is too far away, it could be uncomfortable or awkward for you to reach back and forth. So you want to keep the two of them close to each other to make it as easy as possible to work on a computer.
Something I just want to point out about that one is that I know that some people, when they're using their mouse, they end up their mouse being like all the way at the end of the desk because they keep moving it all the way to like the top right of the screen, and then their mouse is like falling off the table. So it's important to, when you get to a point where the mouse is just too far away from you, lift it up and put it back near your keyboard, and then you can continue using it. Don't like push it all the way to the end of the table so it's like on the edge of the desk and you're like falling off. I've seen that happen a lot, and you definitely want to make sure that occasionally you lift up the mouse and put it back next to your keyboard. All right, next tip. Place the monitor at a comfortable distance. You definitely don't want to be way too close to the monitor. It's very bad for your eyes, or too far. It'll be hard to see. The ideal position for a monitor is 20 to 40 inches away from your eyes. It should also be at eye level or slightly lower. You definitely don't want to look up. That's very bad for your neck. There are some cases where you could put like a book or like a shelf and put your computer on top of it so that it's higher, so that it's higher up and it's easier to see and keep it at eye level. Most people just put it on their desk, and that happens to work well because the chair could be adjusted so that you're facing directly at the computer and you're looking at it at eye level or lower. All right, tip number 5.
So the 5th tip, avoid clutter. So you don't want your workspace to be very messy, to have a lot of papers. That makes it very difficult to work. And even on your computer, you don't want a ton of files or different programs to be open on your computer all at once, because it makes it much more difficult to work on your computer. And it also can lead to stress if you have a lot of different things open and messy all over your desk.
Great. And then the last one, tip number 6, is to take frequent breaks. Some people get really invested in a project. I know I've done this a lot. Like when I'm working on something, when I'm preparing a lesson for this class, I'm just, I don't get up and I'm always on the computer, and you have to make sure that every once in a while you take a break. It's important to take breaks while you're working at your computer. To avoid eye strain, you should look away from the monitor every once in a while. You could also stand up and walk around to avoid sitting in the same position for long periods of time. That's why sometimes using your phone or your tablet is a better adjustment, meaning instead of sitting at your desk all day, you could sit on the couch, or you could walk around with it, or have your phone in your ear, as opposed to just sitting down and not moving. So it's important that especially if that's something you do a lot, is just kind of sit down and be in front of the computer all day, to take breaks so that it gives your eyes a break, and also so you're not sitting all day. So those are kind of our 6 main tips. We aren't health experts, but that's kind of an overview of how to best be sitting at a computer and not have it hurt your health, but instead take breaks, keep the keyboard near you, have it at eye level, all of that. So that was a brief overview. I hope you got something from that. And now we're going to move on to our next segment. Joe, you could play the video. All right. If Joe, let's go back to that. Great. We are now going to do a quick breakout room session. There's actually a new thing I want to add that, even if you've done this before, this is something new. We have now turned on automatically joining. You don't have to click on join. You'll be automatically put in the breakout room. We kind of eliminated that step. You'll just be put in automatically. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a divided up room where you'll be put with 1 or 2 people on the Zoom, and you'll be able to work on a small assignment that we spoke about today. I'm going to explain to you what that is in 1 second. This is to give you a break from hearing our voices and to give you some time to actually take what we taught you today and apply it. Please make sure you unmute yourself. If you're all muted, you can't do that right now because you're in the main session, but when you go to the breakout room, please unmute yourself and turn on your video. You could actually turn on your video right now if you would like to. You will see a button at the bottom of the screen that says ask for help. Please click on that if you have any questions or if you would like either me, Julia, to go into your room and help you out. Once we close the breakout rooms, you'll get a 30-second reminder, and then you'll automatically be placed back in this main session where we will go over the assignment and I will say goodbye for the week. So what are you going to be doing in the breakout rooms? Next slide, Joe. So I did send this to you this morning. I'm sorry I know I usually send them more in advance. If you do not have a chance this week to either print this assignment or take a picture of it, please do so now. Either if you're on your phone, take a screenshot, take a picture of what's on the screen. This asks, it's about 4 or 5 questions that covers what we did today in both the Health Sync, the Health app, and those last tips at the end. So please, if you have not seen this before, take a picture of this sheet on the screen. If you're on your phone, take a screenshot. I'm gonna give everyone 30 seconds to do this. Please take a picture, a screenshot, whichever device you're on, of the 5 questions on the screen. This is what you will be working on when you are in the breakout room session. So I'm gonna give everyone 20 more seconds to do this. All right. No, do I go back? 10 more seconds.